The opinions and views expressed on this program do not reflect those of the management or staff of Community Media of Staten Island.
Okay, welcome back, folks, to our podcast, which it turns out now is going to be aired on a regular basis, believe it or not. The Good, the Bad, and the Indifferent. I'm Reuben Warren with
Dave Frankel.
And Mike Axelrod.
And
Reuben, I just want to have we figured out by now who is the good, who is the bad, and who is the indifferent?
Do we want to find out?
Well,
I mean, maybe we don't
maybe
want to.
Maybe by the end of this episode, we'll know.
Well, maybe one of the letters that we're getting now on a regular basis will inform us what the.
Or we can ask our audience to identify which one it is, and maybe have a little poll.
There you go.
Figure out which, if any, of us are the good, the bad, and the indifferent.
And especially the prison audience. They would,
the ones in the pens. All right. Well, let's see what happens. You know what? We're gonna do a census over the next period of time, and let's see what the folks out there come up with.
Is it wrong to say they are our captive audience?
I think they probably feel like they're a captive audience.
And so did the judge who sent them there.
Yeah, right.
Thank you very much.
Oh, boy.
But, I came across, again, something that I thought would be something interesting to discuss here. And it's titled, Here's the Dirty Truth About Your Sheets. Wash weekly, wear pajamas, and replace. And it goes on to say, if you can't remember the last time you washed your sheets, it might be time for a refresh. No matter how aesthetic your bedroom setup is, nothing kills the vibe like bacteria buildup. Now, there was a recent study done from a mattress company that found that pillowcases left unwashed for just a week can carry 17,000 times more bacteria than, guess what, than a toilet seat.
Oh, boy.
Yes, the place where you rest your head at night might actually be dirtier than your bathroom.
So are you inferring perhaps it might be more sanitary to sleep with your head in the toilet than on the bed?
Evidently. Now, I just would suggest that if you are going to sleep with your head in the toilet, you might want to take off the pajama top.
And the show will go into the toilet.
Before you stick your head in. But, so I guess it brings up the question, there are people out there that enjoy sleeping in the nude. They probably shouldn't sleep in the nude because, your body sheds skin particles at night, and that gets embedded in the sheets, right? That's not a good thing. So actually, what they're saying is they're encouraging, wearing pajamas at night. But then the real question is, how often, are you going to change your sheets? Or how often are you going to change your pajamas and your sheets?
I think the pajamas should be changed nightly at least. You get them in the... You're looking at me like, you don't wear... Or wash them. You get up in the morning, you put them in the washing machine, and during the day you do a wash, and you do a dry, and then you're ready in the evening to put them back on if you only have one, or rotate them with 2 or 3, and that's how, it's... I don't think there's a big controversy over that. But,
well, I don't know. I'm listening to you, and I'm wondering how often I change my pajamas, and I don't know. I do mine seasonally.
But one pair all year. It's not the 1870s. We're in the log cabin where you wear one pair of long johns all winter.
Well, maybe not seasonally, but I think somewhere between changing your pajamas every day and changing them, monthly, somewhere there's a happy medium.
I think so. And the happy medium should get us away from this subject.
And by the way, as far as changing sheets, I think that, for those of us who are able to have somebody come in and clean the house.
Which is,
that's
the best deal in the world.
That's the best deal in the world, right?
Yeah,
you just leave out the linen for them, to change. And I guess that's determined by how often you have somebody come in to clean your house.
Yeah, once every 2 weeks, which is good. My wife, what she'll do is get everything ready, set up everything, and put everything away so that she can take them out and start fresh. You know, whatever you put away, she takes back, the cleaning woman.
Right.
As far as I'm
And
concerned,
tell me, when she puts out the linen, does she also put out a fresh pair of pajamas?
No.
for you? No?
I don't want her to go near any of my stuff.
Okay. No, just, I was just a
Otherwise, she's
thought.
gone.
I mean, it might be, considering what Mike just said, and he put me in an embarrassing position.
Yes, you look embarrassed. Go ahead.
Maybe that's what I should start doing, is laying out pajamas every time the cleaning girl comes. So this way...
Well, maybe she'll look better in them than you do. Is she going to model them? Is she going to wear them? Why does the cleaning lady need to
every
be
day,
dealing with your pajamas?
Well, I could see, the sheets,
Do you even have pajamas? I don't have
No, I actually do.
okay.
No,
All right.
I do. I don't want to get too personal.
I like them.
but I do.
Do you
need
have
them.
dogs on them or little
No,
cats?
but I have, the old Superman, and the Batman
Oh, my
pajamas.
God.
All right.
You don't remember those?
Gym
I do,
shorts.
but
I get away with gym shorts and a T-shirt. That's my.
And they're just plain gym shorts. They don't say anything on them. It's all right. You don't have to tell me. Let's not get too personal.
Yeah.
However,
Who the hell cares?
but the linen though is, I guess you should change your linen every once in a while, right?
yeah, no, that goes without saying.
However, tell me though, if you're single, if you're a single person, whether you're, male or female, you probably don't even think about changing the linen.
When I was single, I didn't. I had a cleaning woman come in every month.
See, now the truth, now the truth comes out.
I borrowed the cleaning woman from my mother, and she cleaned, and that was it.
And she changed the linen. Did you
I don't
leave
know
the
what the
linen?
hell- I
Now, do
don't
you
know.
remember leaving the linen out for her?
Never.
But she changed the linen?
I didn't even know where the linen was when I was single.
So you don't know if she changed the linen.
Whatever she did, I trust her.
Oh,
Let her do it.
my
I paid
God.
her and do it because I was lazy and I didn't know what I was doing. I was.
But there's a good chance, though, the woman came in, saw the linen on the bed,
Yeah.
or probably just took one whiff and said, I think it's time to change the linen.
No, I don't know. Here's
Well,
the-
we could assume that's probably
Okay.
what happened.
Well, here's the forecast for today. Mostly cloudy. High 73, low 28.
All right. I
Where
think
we're
that
going.
I think that, and I guess the other question is, if you do have linen, does it make a difference in terms of how often you change it, whether it's a solid color or a plaid or a stripe? Does that determine?
I have no idea.
Well, they come in sets. You don't mix and match.
No. I'm just saying that in terms of getting dirty, will a solid set of sheets get dirtier?
Gonna have
quicker?
to ask. See if we go out in the hall
don't-
and we'll
I
get
mean,
one
you
of the
know.
women. I could.
All right. We're going a bit.
I wouldn't know.
We're
and
going a bit
No,
off the
no, it's
rails.
good. It's a good subject for a little bit. Go ahead. Next.
All right. Well, the other thing that I had, which I thought was interesting because, we are of a certain age, things have changed.
Old.
During our
Is that your
period
certain,
of time
Your
on
certain
this.
age is just old. That's what you call it.
So, we're all familiar, over the last, 20 or 30 years, the term homeschooling, right? Well, I just heard of this other term that's come into the vocabulary. It's called unschooling, where you basically, the child is taught based on their curiosity. Whatever piques their curiosity, the parent indulges the child in that direction and focuses learning in that area versus, I guess, homeschool. I guess it's an offshoot of homeschooling.
I think so.
Right? Because homeschooling, you're teaching the child basically whatever they would be taught in a school situation, but they're doing it at home and it's more structured. The unschooling is a little more unstructured. And I'm just wondering why is it, why are people doing this?
I have no
And
idea.
why are they doing it? And what is it going to lead to?
There are I imagine lots of ideas about why parents don't want children to go to buildings that house teachers, that house other kids, that house halls of knowledge, so to speak, and want to keep them at home. You know, whether there's safety issues involved, ideological issues that they don't agree with the curriculum, or they don't want to expose their children to certain ideas that maybe that aren't in tune with their ideas. You know, it's a wide range of feelings and emotions involved with parents keeping children from buildings that house educators, proven people who are educators. Maybe they don't think they're proven. I don't know. There's a whole thing that I think is invading our society, where we know better than the teacher. We know better. We're experts. We read something, so we become an expert. And, I just, if there are, who's to say? I can't tell a parent that their idea of what to do is any, but, who do you trust? Who don't you trust? And I don't know. But this unschooling business about how just letting their own curiosities determined their focus on what they've been doing every day, I think there has to be a certain day, maybe part of the day devoted to science, part of the day devoted to math, or maybe turn their curiosities into a mathematical lesson, or turn their curiosities into a reading comprehension type of lesson or something, and use those to guide. Because otherwise, when I was 12 years old, my curiosity was towards Playboy magazine. So am I going to study Playboy magazine all day? And that's my, am I going to look at pictures? That's what my curiosity was. And so I don't know. It wasn't on learning my, American history. If I had a choice between American history and looking at it, or reading the very interesting articles, of course, that Playboy was filled with, which is, what I'm really actually referring to was their journalistic integrity, then, that's a choice. But I don't know about this curiosity business. Maybe if you convert it into, like I said, science part of it, or math part of it, or comprehension part of it, a historical part of it, But that means the parents basically have to become trained and teachers and things like that, instead of, just watching the soap operas while your kid's playing in his room. I don't know.
And a lot of kids are self-motivated. I know that, but not all kids, and it's not easy. If you need to motivate a child in school, that's the teacher's job. If a parent's doing it, that's their job. But it's not easy. It's not easy. Kids who have no interest in wanting to learn, I must say that maybe I was one of them back in the early days. I hated school. And the reason I'm using myself as an example is because they didn't define with me what my problem was. Today, they can do it. For instance, there were kids who are
learning
disabled, or if not that, they're obsessive compulsive disorder, things, all kinds of little things that they're
easily distracted.
I didn't. It wasn't during my time. The teacher would say, "All right, I'm going to send a note to your mother. Your mother has to come in, or your father has to come in," and open school.
What? So do you think that because you had things going on, that you would have been better off being homeschooled? No. If that was available?
No, I'd be better off trying to find out what's keeping me.
So the services weren't available back then?
Well, there was, but...
Yeah, but it was limited, not like they have today where they can evaluate.
They have a full array of reasons why children have learning disabilities.
But do you think that in terms of unschooling or even homeschooling, that these kids are missing out on something?
Yeah,
I mean,
social.
I would think that a homeschooling or unschooling would be much more popular if what am I searching for? That there would be more people would be doing homeschooling if they thought it was a better environment for their kids. But evidently it's not. Or is it, I mean, like we were saying, the parent has to devote a huge amount of time with their child when it comes to homeschooling. And most parents are not equipped to do that.
Right. A lot of, yeah.
Yes and no, because when homeschooling first became popular, whatever it was, 20, 30 years ago, parents did have to be, in a lot of states, had to be considered certified as homeschool teachers. They didn't have to be professional teachers, but they had to pass certain basic standards and follow standard curriculums and had to prove it. Now I believe it's become more lax. A lot of these laws have sort of been sunset, or they're not in effect anymore. So the responsibility of the parents are less, and there aren't as many ways to measure it as there were, and so it becomes a little more suspect about what they're actually learning at home and how they're learning. But I know they do have to take standardized GED tests if you want to. If you don't want to go to high school, you want to be homeschooled. You do have to take a test eventually to be certified by the state as a high school graduate, which means you have to pass certain levels of understanding of math, science, comprehension, history.
All right, but as far as the kids themselves go that are homeschooled, do you think they're in a better environment?
No.
Being at home. I mean, they do. I mean, I guess their interaction with other kids is limited, obviously.
Socialization, I think, is a big thing.
I was just going to say that's very, very important in school. And that's one of the reasons you go to school, is to interact with other children, get to know who they are, become friends, get involved in school activities where you feel comfortable.
Just to learn the human, just to learn how to be a human as a adolescent,
right,
as a pre-adolescent, as a more older adolescent, to be able to progress on those different levels, dealing with other people, because you're going to be dealing with people all your life, So you don't want, it makes you a fully rounded person to be able to interact with other people. But parents worry. Okay. And that's what a lot of it is about.
Parents are afraid. So I know of parents who are as nervous as the child is about going to a new school, a new activity. They hover. They call them helicopter parents. And there's so many of them who they're so concerned about the kid being safe and will have everything they need and they won't be picked on. I mean, I even have in my family that we were concerned about a niece of ours, that she is going away to college for the first time, but she's somewhat awkward in a positive, which is very bright, but she's awkward. So the concern was, will she go to a college? She'll go to the college and she'll meet other students, and is she going to be okay? Are they worried that she'll be picked on? Things of that nature. So some parents need to protect every aspect of that child's life, and to go to a school that they get to know the teacher, they get to know the curriculum, they're happy with what the school offers, safe and sound and education. But it's not always that way. It doesn't always turn out that way.
I think a lot of parents want guarantees.
Yeah.
And there are no guarantees.
Mm-hmm.
You do the best you can as a parent. You try to protect your child, provide for your child, give them an environment as best you can to help them thrive. And then at one point you have to let go.
Yeah.
And you have to let them, don't let them drown, but, let them experience things. Let them experience disappointment. Let them experience things, because that's what life is going to be about. But a lot of parents become, they put them in bubble wrap and they don't want them out of bubble wrap even after 18. You see scenes of kids going away to college where the parents are in tears, breaking down. They can't deal with it, or they drop them off at college.
Yep.
And it's those traumatic. Now, these are 18-year-old kids, 17, 18-year-old kids, and you're leaving. But, they're not infants. But it's harder on the parents than it is for the kids. The kids get embarrassed how their parents are acting a lot of times. But, parents are parents. They're your kids. They're always going to be your kids. When they become adults, when they're in their 40s and 50s, some of us, I know parents, they still call them their babies, They're 40-year-old babies, 50-year-old babies. This is my baby. This is the youngest. She's always going to be my baby. She's always going to be. And I say, how old is your baby? Oh, she'll be 46 next year.
See, and that's the extent of protection. That's off the charts. That's really not going to help the kid at all. that person.
But you're saying that you mentioned parents want guarantees. That's one of the reasons I think the whole charter school system evolved, because parents were disillusioned with the public school system.
That's true.
And they wanted more of a guarantee that their child would be in a better
smaller class,
environment, for learning.
controlling environment.
Well, if you pay for it, you're going to get something better than if you're not paying for it, so to speak. And the charter schools can basically cherry pick students who they want to be part of their community. So maybe you'll figure, well, I'll be with the better children. I'll be with the ones that are easy to educate. My child will not have to sit there while their teacher's spending so much time with the child who maybe can't learn as well as my child can. So I just want my child to be with children of their level of knowledge, and so they're willing to pay for it. And that's what charter schools basically provide. They don't have to accept every child like a public school does.
Right.
And they don't have to put them in the same class with your child who might be an excelling child. So I just want to be with excelling children, and I'm willing to pay for it, and that's where I want to send my kid.
Can I give an example of that?
Sure.
You
don't need my permission.
Well, I don't need permission, but I don't know if you were going to talk
No,
about something.
go
And
ahead.
I don't want to step on your, rain on your
My
parade.
feet are not that big.
Okay, so here's the deal. Boy, you distract me from my thinking, and my thinking is off base, and yet you can. Okay, here's the thing. And he's falling asleep.
I took my Prevagen.
He took Prevagen. In elementary school, in my school, I'm going to give you the name of the school, PS 45, at one time was one of the top elementary schools on Staten Island. It's still okay, but it's not top. And I went to that school. I lived in the neighborhood. For the first 3 years, I was in the so-called 1 class, 1-1, 2-1, 3-1. Because when I took the state or the city tests or whatever those tests are, I came up at a level which was a good level to be at. I wasn't the brightest, but I was in a bright group. In the 4th grade, I got into trouble. I started to show off in class, be a clown, this, that, and the other thing. And the other thing is because I did have a learning, somehow I wasn't able to stick to the work. I was distracted. I was a fearful kid. I mean, this is the way it is. And they, instead of promoting me to that 1 class, they stuck me down to put me in a 3 class. And the reason is on the statewide tests or the citywide tests, it was an indicator that I slumped. I went downhill. When I got the report card at the end of the June, I thought I was going to be with the group. I knew I couldn't have been with the group because I didn't do that well. I knew I didn't do too well. When everybody else was in the 1 class, I went to the 3 class. I went home, and I was trying to be a man about this, but I couldn't. I cried my eyes out. I was so upset. And my grandmother, she had a German accent. She was a very nice person, but what's wrong with you? I don't know if that's a German accent. I said, I don't want to talk about it with you. Why not? Because you wouldn't understand. I understand. So, how was that? Was that a good? No.
Very good.
I tried to tell her, and she was very, very supportive. Don't worry. Well, your mother will come home. My mother came home. She was upset. My father came home. I don't have a mic, do I?
No.
And my father said, "What happened?" I said, "I don't know. I didn't do well." "Nah, well, we'll see." And then he said, "I'll take your glove away so you can't play ball." I mean, they didn't know what to do. This is in the 50s. So I realized then, and my mother took me to a friend of hers who was a psychologist, and I did have some sort of fearful, I just didn't have enough confidence in myself. I was feeling that I was just falling apart. The kids that I played with were my friends. They were bright as hell. One went to Harvard, the other one, they all went to top colleges. I'm going on too long, but I want to fill you in on why these things happened. I realized that I'm going to survive. I'm going to be fine. And in the 3 class, I met some kids who turned out to be juvenile delinquents, but they were nice to me. One of them said, if you don't do what I say, I'm going to. So, and I learned how to fight. And not that I'm a great fighter, but I learned how to defend myself. I mean, these kids were crazy. And yet, I'm here. So that's enough.
Well, you know,
I'm just not going to continue, but that's where I'm at.
So I'll tell you what Mike and I are going to do.
What are you going to do? Beat me up?
No, we're going to start a little GoFundMe
Yeah, fine.
thing for you.
Sure.
And we're going to get you help.
Good. Probably.
It's never too late to
No.
get help.
Right.
No, Dave got help, like you said, and I've known him for a number of years. Very smart gentleman. He's a very smart man. Spent a lot of years teaching
Yes.
at the university level, teaching other people, and he
Thank
had a
you.
very
Very
good
nice.
career and a very good thing. But the idea is that kids are kids, and not every kid progresses at the same
You're absolutely
style.
right.
So every kid in the fourth grade isn't going to be a fourth grade kid. Every kid in the fifth grade isn't going to be a perfect fifth grade kid. Some kids, and that's one of the problems, especially with social promotion, was a big factor where they would just pass kids along. Maybe some kids didn't deserve to be passed along, but you couldn't keep them back
Right.
because there's always another class coming behind you. So people were moved along, but we all end up basically in the same place. But it is traumatic, and it is traumatic as a boy
very was.
because you don't know, you're not developed enough to understand all of these factors, and it's hard. We all experience some of those disappointments. We've always experienced when somebody goes ahead of us or somebody's behind us. We have empathy, but we also don't understand everything. And Dave didn't understand what was going on at that time, and that's okay. And that was okay. And it proved to be okay because he went on to live a very good life, and he's still living a good life.
Thank you.
As we are,
Thank
as
you.
Ruben and I are also. And we've all had our ups and downs along the way.
And now they can define all of that. In this day and age, this was back in the 50s. Now they can actually find out, take a test, find out what's wrong, what areas I lose concentration, and I know what it is. I know full well what my problem is, whereas I was too young to know. My parents
Well,
just
you know,
wanted
hopefully-
me to do well, and I didn't do well, so they were disappointed. Go ahead.
Well, you know, and I guess hopefully in time, you know, people will find out whether this whole concept of where we started with
Yes.
unschooling, homeschooling, whether or not it actually works, and what you know, and hopefully the children that are involved in it will grow up to be productive human beings,
Certainly
you
hope
know,
so.
in society. But
Like I said, there
time
are
will
no
tell.
guarantees. We do the best we can as parents. We do the best we can as students at all our different stages. And how it comes out, it comes out.
You're right about that.
Well,
Yeah.
we seem to have run out of time on this podcast, which is pretty amazing. But I would like to conclude with another one of Mrs. Murphy's
Go for Mrs. Murphy.
idioms. And this one is about bringing home the bacon. Now, in the old days, they cooked in the kitchen with a big kettle that always hung over the fire. Every day they lit the fire and added things to the pot. They ate mostly vegetables and did not get much meat. They would eat the stew for dinner, leaving leftovers in the pot to get cold overnight and then start over the next day. Sometimes stew had food in it that had been there for quite a while. Hence the rhyme, peas porridge hot, peas porridge cold, peas porridge in the pot 9 days old. Sometimes they could obtain pork, which made them feel quite special. When visitors came over, they would hang up their bacon to show off. It was a sign of wealth that a man could bring home the bacon. They would cut off a little to share with guests and would all sit around and chew the fat.
Very good. I like that.
So now we know where bring home the bacon, chew the fat, and peas porridge hot came from. And with that,
No, on that,
on that note, till next time,
adios. Have a good one, and we'll see you next time.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Right. Good night and good luck.